welcome. This is Natasha. So today's video is going to be mainly focusing on get well soon cards, sympathy card. I think I have like a graduation card in here. It's just going to kind of be more so cards that I've been noticing that I have been sending out more since being at this stage in life where we're all staying at home. So I'm going to be doing this first one. I am working on a glass mat. So I am adhering my Nina Solar cardstock to my glass mat. This video is going to have like a mismatch of all kinds of products, all kinds of different techniques. So I encourage you to try what you have and experiment with whatever techniques you see on the social media or any techniques that I use that I have been inspired by. Yeah, just try them out. It's time where, just try something new. It's kind of fun. So I am using the Ledger Drops stencil here. I'm going to be taping that down. I'm going to be using these two Distress Oxides, Wilted Violet and Seedless Preserves. And I am using that texture paste from Ranger. And I said before, I am using a glass mat, so I'm just putting some ink from the ink pads onto my glass mat. And I'm gonna be just mixing that in with my texture paste. And my texture paste was a little dry. I don't know why. I've had it for a couple of months actually, never opened it, never used it, but it just was a little dry, but it totally worked for what I was using it for. So yep, I just went ahead and used it. So what I'm doing here is on the right is the Seedless Preserves. On the left is the Wilted Violet Distress Oxide. And I just took the Seedless Preserves and I add that to the bottom portion of this panel. Then I'm going to be taking the Wilted Violet and I'm going to basically use my palette knife to try to just blend between the two colors and get a nice little blend between the two texture paste colors, if you may. And I am using my palette knife to do this. I got this palette knife, it was in a set and I got this from Ross, I believe. I bought a set for my son. He was doing some kind of mixed media thing for his art class in school. And so I bought like a whole pack. And here's an up close shot. I did use my heat tool because I'm super impatient. So that's why it's a little bit bubbly on the top portion of that stenciled texture paste, but I think it came out gorgeous. And then I used the leftovers because I don't like to waste. And I used this stencil by Heidi Swap. And I just, whatever leftover texture paste is what I used. And that one I actually let dry because I wasn't in a rush to use it. Okay, so taking my Wilted Violet and just my blender brush, I'm going to be blending the edges of this panel with some Wilted Violet. And then I just sprayed it with a little bit of some gold shimmer to get that Wilted Violet color to pop. Oxides react really well with water. So do Distress inks, but the oxides really just oxidize when you hit it with some kind of water. Okay, so I added that I added my stenciled piece to that background, and then I'm using this little cutout. It's a scrap cutout I had in my stash for a while. I was trying to die cut a circle. Obviously I didn't die cut the circle correctly, so I had it just sitting on my desk for like a while, and I thought it would look really cool with this project. And I have a little gold hibiscus that I cut out as well. And I'm going to be using this sentiment strip. That sentiment strip comes from Tailored Expressions, and it says with deepest sympathy. I added some little sequins and that card's done. So moving on to the leftover palette that I made, I used the Hugs die cut from Simon Says Stamp, added that onto the panel with liquid adhesive and my little sentiment strip. And I'm going to be matting that onto some black cardstock. I cut the cardstock just a slightly bigger than my panel here, just so I could have a frame around that focal point. and then I matted that onto a hot pink cardstock and then onto my card base. I did hit the Hugs die cut with some Wink Stella, or sorry, I use Spectrum Noir glitter pen there. Okay, and we're moving on to the next card. So here are all the oxides I used in this card, and if you want to push pause right then and you could take a look at all the distress inks that I used, that would be a good plan to do that. And I am using my Tailored Expressions, my blender brushes here as well. I have a 90-pound or 80-pound Nina Solar white cardstock, and I'm going to be going in. So I'm going to start first with the Salty Ocean. I'm going to be blending that onto my panel here. And it's super easy and it goes on like smooth. I mean, super smooth with this blending brush. And because it's a Distress Oxide and I am using the Nina Solar White cardstock, it just goes on smooth. So here's the panel when I have all the colors done. I have it in my splatter box. I'm spritzing it with some gold shimmer. I'm going to hit that with my heat tool just to get everything drying and basically get everything moving. Okay, and I am going to be using, I have it now in my stamp positioner, and I'm going to be using this Mama Elephant Hello Friend Wishes stamp set. I'm just going to be using that really big stamp right there. Okay, so I prepped my surface and I stamped it with some VersaFine Black Onyx ink, and then I sprinkled some clear embossing powder and hit that with my heat tool. I also added a little sentiment that says, "I miss you, that is all." And I did the same thing with the VersaFine, and I did some clear embossing powder and then heat set that as well. Okay, mounted that onto my card base, a couple of sequins, and done. Beautiful. I just wanted the background to stand out with a nice bold sentiment. Finished. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to use this old Spellbinders die set. I'm going to be using this little like cluster of misshapen ovals and that little piece as well that I just showed that comes on the same die set from Spellbinders. And I cut a bunch of different sizes, different textured papers, and I'm just going to be layering them basically on this Nina Solar white card base, and I'm using liquid adhesive, and I'm just going to be alternating it, just alternating through the colors. And I didn't want one stack of ovals or circles to be or to have the same colors or even the same patterns. So some of them I am sticking down with liquid adhesive, and then some I'm just popping up with a little bit of foam adhesive. Okay, so I just have it all randomly. I have this yay cut out. I think I stacked like five die cuts on top of each other, so there's some dimension on that. And then I'm gonna be using a sentiment strip. So my idea was I wanted it to be squished. I wanted my yay to be super squished, all close together, just kind of like whimsically and fun. Okay, I put congrats graduate, and then I added some blue and green dewdrops in different random places. I think it looks very like, what is it called? Like spacey. My son thinks it looks like avocados. So I don't know. I guess whatever it is, whatever. Okay, so I'm using from that same die set. There's this little like rainbow or half a rainbow. And I use that and I die cut a little piece, like a little rounded rectangle piece. And I added some vellum behind that. I'm gonna do a simple shaker card. I haven't done one of these in a super long time. Okay, so adding on my foam adhesive, you did see me use my powder tool so nothing sticks. And the previous card, you saw that I used that die cut to cut a bunch of little holes inside of the ovals. This is all the little holes that came out of there. That's the scrap paper. So I'm using that as my shaker bits in my shaker card. I'm putting on the backing part. I'm gonna flip that thing over, and this thing is so much fun. It's got a real muted kind of look to it because there's the vellum, but everything in there moves. It's all paper, you know, like the scrap paper. So it's so fun. Okay, so I'm using a kind of like a burnt orange cardstock here for my card base. I cut out a little sun die cut, added that behind my panel, and then I'm going to be using a sentiment strip that just says a note to make you smile that comes from uh, Tailored Expressions. And then I cut out a couple of little cloud dies and added some sequins. And that's it. It's done. It's fun and it's going to make somebody smile. So, okay, so using the leftover pieces from the previous card, when I cut out my rainbow die cut to make my shaker, this was the leftovers. So I'm using that and I'm going to be popping that up on some foam adhesive onto this cardstock here. This, what? I'm having like a super brain fart. I don't know. Anyway, I'm putting it on that cloud cardstock there. Adding some Wink of Stella. I'm adding some Spectrum Noir glitter pen to my rainbow. I added a thanks die cut and then adding that really simple onto my card base, and that's basically done. I'm gonna add some clear sequins and that's it. It's done. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, and it's simple. All right, here's the end of the video. So I have some still shots coming up here, and I hope that you like this video. I hope you got inspired. It was a lot of fun just to sit and craft and get all these ideas that I have swarming around in my head out on paper. So I'm super excited about these cards. I can't wait to send them out to some friends and some loved ones. And I hope you enjoyed it. Please give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Please share anywhere you can. Share any social media. You can also follow me over on Instagram. I do post these cards that I made there, and I post cards that I don't film for YouTube channel there as well. So come over to Instagram at nwongyuan designs. Come follow me there and show me love there as well. Yeah, I hope you guys are all staying safe and healthy and enjoying this time that we have together with our families and our loved ones. I will catch you on the next video. Mahalo and stay safe.